And if you don't run, you don't get no tuition, right?
That's the way the system goes.
Run, nigga, run.
Standard bearers of hip-hop.
Perform atomically.
You're on top of the game right now.
Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses.
Sky's the limit, son.
Let me take a moment and appreciate where we at.
You know what it's like in hip-hop? Everyone is looking for the next thing.
Hey, what up, Puff?
My point is that we have to do everything to hold our position while we got it.
You're about to snap. I can see it.
Shit is way more fun when it's out of control, son.
What's going on, YouTube? We back in the Low Key Cave, Keyshawn Nimes' YouTube page, aka Mr. Low Key, and we back with another TV show review. And we got Wu-Tang and American Saga, and this is season 3, the final season, man. I've definitely been looking forward to this, man. This is definitely the one I've been trying to watch as far as the whole thing with them going into the process as far as Wu-Tang Forever. Of course, we not really getting into that necessarily when we started this, because I almost forgot that you got a lot of solo projects that they ended up working on right after the first debut project as far as 36 Chambers. So once we actually dive into this, man, it's everybody pretty much enjoying the lavish life as far as the wealth. After 36 Chambers and the fame from 36 Chambers, everybody getting paid, RZA has the whole Wu-Tang Clan set up at a mansion, and this is where they're pretty much working on music, because RZA is in the process of working on, I think if I'm not mistaken, 5 solo projects. He was in the process of working on, he was finishing Method Man's album, and you got to remember, in that previous season, as far as season 2, he had lost all his music in the flood or whatever. That everything he had pretty much had prepared for everybody that he was about to do as far as their solo projects had went down in the flood or whatever, had got messed up on the sloppy disc that he had. So now he's in the process of pretty much trying to reproduce everybody's project. And if I'm not mistaken, he had just finished up Method Man's project for Def Jam, which to Cal. Now he's in the process of doing Inspector Dex, ODB, finishing up Raekwon's, and if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it some I think that was the main ones. But it's basically a lot of pressure on RZA, man, because everything, you got to remember, he was the main producer for Wu-Tang at that time. Nobody outside of Wu-Tang was produced for anybody but RZA. And what really got my attention with this was the fact that they went into the whole thing with the remix for All I Need with Method Man, because at this time when they're starting the season, Method Man is at the top right now. His album is already gold as far as the Cal. He got one of the biggest albums on not just hip-hop, but just in music in general at this time. So now the label as far as Def Jam is trying to get RZA to do a remix for All I Need, so they can kind of get it over that next point, so it can make the album to Cal go platinum now that it's already gold. The only thing with RZA is, bro, has just got so much on his hands, because with everybody else, you know what I'm saying, kind of, I ain't gonna say they chilling, but everybody is trying to take it in as far as them having, you know what I'm saying, this type of fame and getting what they got as far as coming out of the projects, as far as the Shaolin, aka, you know, Staten Hill or whatever. But RZA, once again, it's that whole thing with him in that drive. Bro is like, yo, I know we done got here, but I still got to make sure I keep these obligations going, because one of the most important things is they got contract obligations. He made that one-of-a-kind deal as far as for the group with Loud, as far as after they do this first group project, as far as 36 Chambers, all the members can pretty much go do their own solo deals outside of Wu-Tang or whatever. So now he does have contract obligations with these guys to get these solo projects done. One of the main projects that he has no material for is Old Dirty Bastard. And if you remember from the previous season, the thing with ODB is he wanted to always be signed to Def Jam. But RZA structured him a contract for Elektra, because the whole thing with RZA was he was thinking long term as far as ODB being able to own his music. The thing with ODB is like, bro, you ain't talked to me about nothing, and his childhood dream was always to be signed to Def Jam. So now they still going off of that. ODB is still Old Dirty Bastard, still not talking to RZA, and now he's dealing with that whole complication as far as trying to get this project done because Elektra is waiting on them to pretty much present a project to them, pretty much present some music from Old Dirty Bastard. On the other end of all of that, man, I love the way we really about to get into them going into the process of working on these solo projects. One of my favorite ones, Only Built for Cuban Leaks, as far as Raekwon. So we are getting a lot as far as more character development between Raekwon and Ghostface, because you know they were somewhat one of the closest ones, and you know outside of everybody else solo projects, they kind of had that whole thing where they was always featuring on each other's projects. You had Only Built for Cuban Links featuring Tony Stark, aka Ghostface. Then you had, if I'm not mistaken, Iron Man featuring Raekwon. So now we about to get them kind of going into the format of them coming up with this project, because Ghostface don't have a solo project or even have a solo deal at this moment. And I'm thinking he gonna probably get his deal once everybody hear the project between him and Raekwon as far as Only Built for Cuban Links. I really enjoy the chemistry. Once again, everybody's phenomenal, man. The actors that they got to play these roles, embody these roles. Dave East is a rapper, and I ain't saying that I ain't know he could act, but outside of even what he doing as far as playing Method Man, I'm pretty sure he got some credentials as far as some acting skills, and he could do some things as far as acting. But the way he embodied Method Man as far as Dave East, the way he made his voice sound like Method Man at the time, crazy. You already know. I'm gonna get into him as far as the dude playing. I think his name's AJ Adams, TJ Adams. My bad if I'm wrong, but the guy playing Old Dirty Bastard, man. I'm gonna get into him, man. Phenomenal, man. But everybody, Inspector Deck, the dude playing Jizzle, like they are embodying these guys. And if you ever watch these old documentaries, I remember watching the ones of Mike's and Men and seeing how before they was even about to do this show, they come up in the whole, even a kind of, not really a fallout, but kind of how they had their differences as far as the group, especially with everything RZA was doing as far as trying to control a lot of things within the group. So I'm just enjoying what I'm seeing with this and the fact that they are able to embody these people, because one thing I'm enjoying too is the guy playing Raekwon and the way he got that little bit of weight on him, because you know Raekwon wasn't the smallest guy at the time, but outside of that, man, I'm enjoying what they doing as far as this character development and the relationship. Once again, Ghostface and Raekwon and everybody, you guys, because it's a lot of people who didn't get these same solo projects that certain people was getting outside of, you know, Method Man, Raekwon, and ODB. But now you're gonna see a lot of this being structured. Outside of that, though, Divine, man, I'm really loving the way they are sticking with showing how business savvy Divine is. Also, Power too. Power on the same side as being business savvy. He's that hustler mentality. Devon is always thinking about the next thing. Power, I love the way he's trying to have conversations already with, as far as some of the group members of Wu-Tang, about doing things outside of rapping. Power's like, yo, y'all need to start thinking about things we can do outside of rapping. You can't rap forever. Because Raekwon and them whole thing is like, man, we just getting started. Like, what you talking about, a retirement plan already? But the whole thing with Power was just having that, basically that next plan outside of rap. If rapping ain't gonna be here forever, so you need to have that next thing with your name and your brand outside of rapping. And I love the way they're going into that as far as showing these guys the way they are business savvy and their hustle mentality. Once again, man, Devon showing how the way he learned to understand the business and the way even he do the structuring of the contracts, because it's one scene in particular where he's having a conversation with you guys, because you guys is asking him like, yo, why my checks so low or whatever, and he start explaining to you guys about health insurance. He starts explaining to you guys about the whole thing with taxes coming out, because you guys like, yo, I don't need none of this. Like Devon has explained to him like, no, you got to pay your taxes, and you need health insurance unless you want to go to the hospital and something damn near happened to you. You got to just cash out or pay out straight there instead of already having insurance where you ain't got to do it like that. But I just really enjoyed it. But it's also showing you just how much some of the guys in the group don't understand the business like that, and the way Devon does have to kind of structure them and show them some of these things. Another thing about Devon, man, is the way he's going into these corporate buildings, because the guy, as far as the president of Loud, Steve Rocco, I think that's his name, Steve. I know his name's Steve, if I'm not mistaken. But it's when he's going into these buildings as far as Devon, and you kind of see they kind of brushing him off or whatever, because when he first get in there, they kind of think he a rapper or whatever, but he got to explain to them he's an executive, but they still kind of like, But Steve kind of explained to him, like, you got to keep coming up to this building, you got to kind of show them, like, who you are and what you about. And instead of him, you know what I'm saying, like getting mad about it or going up there like on some hood shit or whatever, he actually goes up there and starts showing them kind of like just a different side of him outside of them kind of already painting a picture of him, because of course he's black. And you gotta remember, this is the 90s around, this is the early 90s or whatever. Once again, you know, Wu-Tang, but like I said, I'm really enjoying the way they show just how smart Devon is and the way he was handling the business for all these guys. And the way him and RZA would have these conversations, just like they would have about why they bought a mansion, or even RZA asking Devon, like, why you buy this office or whatever. And him explaining to him, like, we got to have a little bit better representation when we having these big corporate guys coming in here, especially from these labels. Hey, man, I'm enjoying all of this once again. I'm just can't wait till they start getting into the structure of the albums, just the way they doing with Inspector Deck. Because, no, it's GZA. Yes, what it is. It's GZA, and we working on his solo project, Liquid Swords. But one of my favorite things about this season, the way they starting off, is once again how they're diving into the relationship between ODB and RZA, and how ODB is kind of on this downward spiral because of the whole thing with RZA and what he did with sending him to Elektra and him wanting to go to Def Jam. So ODB ain't even really trying to record music. He just out here kind of on the drug binge. He ain't even really around the group or anything, just out here doing his own thing outside of doing any music. So now he get into a kind of situation where, once again, he's on the drug binge, and they not shying away from that. Once again, you remember ODB and you watch, you know, certain things was going on or whatever, but they actually are paying more and a lot of attention to his talent. But they are diving into the fact of him just kind of getting himself together. And shout out to Ghostface Killer's girl, man, because she get on his ass or whatever, because he get into the situation where he pretty much start running from the cops and he end up in the hospital or whatever. And he's trying his best just to stay away from RZA. He do not want to deal with RZA at all or whatever. So Ghostface Killer's girlfriend is pretty much trying to talk to him and pretty much get him in a better space to have that conversation with RZA. But not only that, just telling him he need to grow up. Like, you got all these opportunities out here that everybody else ain't got. So now it's time for you to put yourself in the position to, like, get yourself together, man. So we got this whole thing because RZA got a meeting with Elektra, and they got a due date because they've been postponing these due dates because him and ODB ain't been talking, but Elektra need to hear this music because they got this deal, or if they breach contract, then they're gonna have to pay all this money. So now RZA pretty much on the back ropes, and that's one of the things that's going on throughout this season, as far as him having to deal with these solo projects and these obligations to these contracts. But it's not even only that. He got his girlfriend with him. His girl is with him from Ohio, and she is with him now in the mansion or whatever, but it's the whole thing with him being, I ain't gonna even call it distraction. Once again, you know RZA and you watched him from these previous 2 seasons, but you watch him over his career as far as the real RZA, then you know just how in tune or just how serious he was as far as his career, but the Wu-Tang brand. So they really are diving into it this season as far as just how focused, but not only that, just how he was almost overworking himself. Because it comes to a situation which I'm coming around back to as far as the whole remix to All I Need with Method Man, where this was the first time that RZA said, get somebody else to produce it, because Devon lets RZA know, like, if you don't produce it, the remix, like, Def Jam's gonna find somebody else. And who do they go get? They gonna get Puffy. Shout out to them getting Puffy's son to come play him, which it was the perfect matchup. This almost reminds me of what they did with Straight Outta Compton with Ice Cube playing his son. This was perfect. He coming up like, what's up, Playboy? But Puffy, which I didn't even know, that's another thing I'm loving about this show. I did not know Puffy did the remix for All I Need to this day. Being I'm supposed to be a little hip-hop head or whatever, I didn't know he did it. But I love the way they dive into that, and the fact that, once again, this is the label trying to push Method Man's album to that next level as far as going platinum. This was a good thing, though, because I remember now hearing those Biggie Smalls ad-libs in that remix or whatever. So I really enjoyed the fact that they did that. Once again, I didn't know that, so yeah. Once again, though, outside of that, it's everything that's going on with RZA and what he's trying to do as far as getting everybody together to solo projects, but it's really him and ODB. and they do finally get to some type of reconciliation once RZA do apologize to him. Because I love the scene because you got RZA and them and Divine at this meeting with Electra, and RZA just playing them basically beats. The whole thing with Electra is like, we already know you can produce beats, RZA, but we need to hear ODB on these beats. And ODB just bust in the room at the meeting or whatever. He just started jumping on the table freestyling. And it kind of reminds you what a lot of these new rappers be doing when they be doing these whole things when they about to get signed to these labels. You remember back in the day when Bobby Shmurda did his whole showcase or whatever for Epic or whatever. Like I said, it just kind of reminds you of that. But once again, this was first as far as what ODB did. And I don't even know if he really did this, but hey, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But yeah, man, this is where we kind of get a lot more focus into ODB. And once him and RZA actually reconcile, we get into them going into the whole process of working on ODB's solo project, Brooklyn Zoo. The whole thing is ODB can't get with no beats that RZA is giving them. And they've been working on beats for like 2 days. And this third episode, I ain't gonna lie, at first, I kind of wasn't feeling it or whatever. But they go into this whole thing with kind of paying homage to blaxploitation films, but not only that, the fact that they the ones that didn't really enjoy these films. Of course, more than likely, ODB really enjoyed these films, and I love the way RZA and the writers really are paying homage. Rest in peace to Old Dirty Bastard, man, especially in episode 3, man, because we get a whole episode where all our characters who play, you know, the rappers or whatever, playing these blaxploitation characters or whatever, in particular ODB being our main character. And I'm feeling like, and y'all can let me know if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, I'm feeling like this was them going into the whole thing in the mind of ODB and his process behind not only his album, but the structure behind the way he wanted to do his music videos. Because after they do this whole, basically like blaxploitation play somewhat, because this kind of how it played off of, we go to present time and we got them doing ODB's music video for Shimmy Shimmy Ya. Ooh, baby, I like it, roll. And once again, man, shout out to the actor playing ODB, because he coming here embodying this, because we get the video, you got him doing the hair with the Soul Train video thing going on in the background or whatever, and he just coming in with the whole mannerisms of ODB, because you know ODB doing all that crazy stuff, you know, he did in the videos or whatever. So he definitely pulled it off, man, and that dude need to get an Emmy, I'm telling you. Outside of that, though, I enjoyed all 3 of these episodes, and I cannot wait for episode 4. Once again, I hope we go into them doing the whole process behind Only Built for Cuban Links. This Ice Cream, all them songs on there, man, with him and Ray. Come on, man, we got a lot of joints on Only Built for Cuban Links. But not only that, I hope all of this is a build-up outside of the solo projects for them to go into them doing Wu-Tang Forever. Because, you know, outside of 36 Chambers, that's the next project that they started work on. And then the whole thing with them doing Triumph, Inspector Deck, and his verse and the opening verse to that song, homotomically, psychically, and logically, hypotheses on Robert. I'm just saying, man. Wu-Tang, swoo! But anyway, man, y'all let me know how y'all feeling about these first 2 episodes, man. I'm definitely enjoying them. I can't wait. Like I said, I'll definitely be here with the next review. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them live. I'm more than likely going to do them pre-recorded like I'm doing now, but I might set them as premieres. But y'all definitely let me know how y'all feeling about these first 3 episodes, man. The thing, like I said, when I was talking about RZA and what he has going on as far as him producing or whatever, it's the fact that he seemed like he don't really have time for his girl, because they got this whole thing where her feeling like he doesn't really need her. And I ain't gonna say she feeling like she distracting him, but she feeling like she's unneeded and she wants something else outside of her just being there as the girlfriend, support him or whatever. So that's another thing RZA has to go through, man. And like I said, man, it's a lot, because you got this guy coming in trying to make sure, it almost made me feel like RZA tried to make sure they didn't lose their hunger. Outside of making sure that he stuck to contract obligations, he had to come in and make sure he kept that Wu-Tang sound, because he didn't want no outsiders coming in, because he knew everybody was about to start doing their own thing or whatever with their solo projects, but he wanted to make sure it all stayed Wu-Tang. Excuse me. Because there's certain scenes in here where they got the whole scene, they having a party at the house, and Raekwon invite these girls over, and they start playing songs from like Rakim, KRS-One, and Wu-Tang. Everybody in the house like, no, we don't play nothing outside of Wu-Tang. Like, we the new thing. We coming in, we taking over. We don't play nothing outside of Wu-Tang. And that's where I was getting into the whole thing with, you know, them saying, with them doing the whole thing with Method Man and the remix, and this being the first time somebody producing outside of RZA. So it's might be a lot of that going on throughout the season, with a couple of different people coming in producing outside of RZA with these solo projects, and I'm gonna be looking forward to it. And once again, man, shout out to the cameos, bro, because we got another cameo here outside of Puff Daddy. We got Busta Rhymes in here. I mean, I guess it's like, who can you get to embody Busta Rhymes and pull that off? I guess that's the thing, and that might not be the easiest thing, but I mean, they did what they could do. That's what I will say. But y'all let me know how y'all feeling about these first 3 episodes of the final season of Wu-Tang and American Saga. Make sure you hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell, let you know when I upload new videos. Other than that, we out.